If you've ever spent time in a historical church, chances are you've seen a strange, somewhat eerie bit of sculpture work known as a foliate head or the Green Man. These unique objects take the form of faces fused with leaves, sprouting plants from their mouths, their ears, and their eyes, or faces made entirely of plant parts. The 15th century Rosslyn Chapel in Scotland has more than 110 Green Men carvings. One of the most famous Green Men is seen in a corbel at the Bamberg Cathedral in Germany, dating back to the 13th century. But this figure is not limited to Western Europe. Examples of this strange anthropomorphic sculpture appear in Templar churches in Jerusalem, in the ruins of the ancient Arab city of Hatra, in Byzantine mosaics in Istanbul, and in the Jain temple in India. The Green Man has also appeared in human form as a man covered in leaves and foliage in medieval pageants and parades, has been painted onto tavern signs, adopted as a symbol by modern pagans, and has been used as a marketing tool by environmentalist campaigns. Despite his prevalence and popularity, his origin remains shrouded in mystery. Who is the Green Man, and why does he seem to be everywhere? A leaf-covered statue of the Roman god Dionysus in Naples, Italy, dating back to 420 BC, is considered to be one of the earliest Green Men. Dionysus, or Bacchus as he was known to the ancient Greeks, is a nature god of fruitfulness and vegetation, particularly winemaking and the festivities that accompany that pursuit. He was typically depicted carrying a pine cone-tipped staff called a thyrsos, a drinking cup, and crown of ivy. It's believed by many that this vegetation-heavy depiction became the basis for the leaf-faced Green Man. However, there are similar figures in ancient cultures that had little or no Roman influence, like the Mesopotamian Green Man carving at Hatra and leaf masks from ancient Constantinople. Some historians believe it's possible that the figure's origin started somewhere in the East and was brought to Europe by migrating stone carvers. Medieval Christians adopted many symbols, rites, and rituals from ancient Greek and Roman traditions. At the same time, the Celts of Western Europe had a particular reverence for the human head, which they believed was the repository of the soul, along with a veneration of sacred trees. It's possible these beliefs led the Celts to produce their own Green Man artwork, combining the two symbols to show the intertwining of man and nature. Perhaps the Green Man was just so enigmatic that he was easily adopted into many belief systems. And it's easy to interpret that a foliate head is the inspiration for man to fully immerse himself in nature. And at the same time, as a warning that nature will not be controlled by man. During the early Middle Ages, the symbol was fully absorbed into Christian iconography, appearing in illustrated manuscripts like the 8th century Book of Kells. While explicit pagan rituals like tree worship were repressed, the Green Man remained as a non-threatening nod to the old ways. Increasing prosperity from the 12th century onward paved the way for a massive revival in building, with the church expanding its influence by constructing intricate cathedrals. These buildings were often covered in sculpture work of mythical beasts, demons, and pagan symbols to exemplify the passions and desires pious men needed to overcome. The Green Man was seen alongside sirens, mermaids, and humans with exaggerated genitalia. While the more grotesque and obscene images eventually fell out of fashion in houses of worship, the Green Man remained, perhaps because he was less offensive than the rest. Some historians believe that Christians accepted the Green Man as a symbol for the quest of Seth, a medieval tale in which the son of Adam returns to the Garden of Eden in search of an elixir to save his dying father. The angel guarding the gates refused Seth's entry, but gave him a seed from the tree from which Adam and Eve stole the apple. Seth returned to find his father dead, placed the seed under his tongue, and buried him. A tree grew from the seed and was cut down. Eventually, the wood from that tree was used to make the cross on which Jesus was crucified. It's possible that the green man survived the spread of Christianity simply because he fit a new interpretation. No longer was he the depiction of the god closely associated with wild frenzy and pleasure, but the depiction of the seed that became the most potent symbol of the church. From the Renaissance onward, the green man became more decorative than symbolic. His image appeared on furniture, embroideries, chimney pieces, and even cannons. By the 16th century, the term green man had evolved to signify a man covered in leaves who was part of a parade, pageant, or other ritual enactment. Sometimes he was a whiffler, leading the way ahead of an event to clear crowds with a club or staff, sometimes with fireworks embedded in it to force the crowd to scatter. This version of the green man was a variant of the wild man, a mythical hair-covered figure that lives feral in the wilderness. Over time, the wildness of this version of the green man became associated with intoxication, and by the 17th century, the green man was a popular name and symbol for public houses. Another possible appearance of a green man was in the 14th century chivalric romance Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. The narrative poem tells the story of an enormous green warrior appearing before King Arthur's court in Camelot. The Green Knight suggested a friendly game in which any knight brave enough could strike him once with his axe, on the condition that he would return the blow in a year and 1 day. Sir Gawain took him up on the offer, beheading the Green Knight and claiming his axe as his prize. But the knight did not fall or falter, merely picked up his severed head and reminded Gawain that he must meet him at the Green Chapel in a year and a day. As the date for their meeting drew nearer, Gawain took refuge at a castle near the chapel, where he refused advances from the Lord's wife and met an old, ugly lady who was unnamed but inexplicably renowned by all. When he finally meets the Green Knight in the chapel, the knight delivers only a minor wound, then reveals himself as the lord of the castle, transformed by magic. The lord explains that the entire adventure was a trick conceived by the old, ugly lady at the castle, who is really the sorceress Morgan Le Fay, who intended to test Arthur's knights. Sir Gawain's transformation in the poem spans exactly a year, leading many scholars to name the Green Knight as a symbol for the cyclical thread of time. Eventually, that symbolism was also ascribed to the Green Man. In 1933, Lady Raglan of the Folklore Society suggested that the foliate head of the figure she observed in her church could be connected to Jack in the Green, a character commonly associated with May Day celebrations in England. Jack in the Green is usually dressed head to foot in greenery and walks in a parade or procession accompanied by musicians. He's often joined by other characters and a begging bowl. While the pair do share some characteristics, it's believed that the two are actually entirely unrelated. Jack in the Green originated from a 17th century May Day celebration in which milkmaids danced beside a fiddler for money, which they collected in their milk pails, which had been decorated with greenery and flowers. The practice was picked up by the chimney sweeps who were usually out of work by May due to the decreased need for fires. So, less chim chim chiroo and more chim chim boo-hoo. Today, the Green Man remains a popular subject in modern art, appearing in literature, film, and sculpture. In 2006, the 12-meter tall Green Man, created by Zambian sculptor Toyin Adams, became the world's largest freestanding sculpture of the mythical character. Each year in May, thousands of people flock to Shropshire for the annual Green Man Festival in Clun, where a horned green man battles the Frost Queen to ensure that winter is banished. The Green Belt Green Man Festival in Maryland is an annual celebration of music and art to raise awareness and funds for environmental efforts. Many environmentally conscious organizations and companies use his name and image to convey their message in marketing materials. Many modern pagans, Wiccans, and Druids use the figure to symbolize seasonal renewal, the cyclical nature of time and growth and decay. The Green Man has worn many faces over the centuries, and his origins remain frustratingly out of reach, shrouded in layers of myth, migration, and meaning. Was he born from the shadows of pre-Christian nature worship? Or did he sprout from the imaginations of medieval stonemasons? A silent reminder of nature's power in a world increasingly tamed by human hands. Was he born from a single place? Or was he created separately in multiple cultures, and was his visage chiseled into places of worship as a celebration or a warning? Despite, or perhaps because of this ambiguity, the Green Man endures. He watches us still, peering from cathedral walls, pub signs, garden centres, and tarot decks. He's been adopted by modern pagans as a symbol of the wild divine, co-opted by marketeers to sell as a sanitized version of nature, and kept alive in music, art, and seasonal festivals. In a world where the natural and the artificial are increasingly at odds, the Green Man stands as a mysterious relic and perhaps as a warning. He reminds us that nature is never truly silent. It remembers, it returns, it endures, and through the ever-changing mask of the Green Man, it speaks. Thank you for watching. And a special thanks to our patrons and our members, not least because your support helps us get to great locations like this one. Right then, take care, and I'll see you next time with another story to make you say, well, I never.